I'm Matus, and this is like an education talk, or what we call EdTalk, which CIGAM present with CIGAM and MIECA present this EdTalk, and we have like a speaker as Khun Jongsuwat. There is a day I have been looking forward to for over a year. Have you ever doubted whether you should pursue your dreams, other people's dreams, or social expectation? Is there a perfect solution to satisfy my community, my family, and myself? Today, we are introducing Education Talk, which aims to leverage your education to benefit your career. For many aspiring entrepreneurs, it can be a challenge to turn one passion into a successful business, as it requires commitment, determination, and sacrifice. Jongsuwat, Kompit, and I will join together to share the solution we chose that shape our thoughts and present to be who we are by breaking the talk into 4 parts. I will talk about my experiences and obstacles while living abroad and how I can help, listen, and be willing to offer support and to help those people dreaming of studying, working, and living abroad. Khun Kompit will clarify the misconceptions behind the studying abroad by presenting about how studying in a foreign country is more than about studying, but it's also a life-changing experience that prepares students for the real world. Khun Jongsuwat will share his secret of how to overcome all challenges and successfully turn his passion into a business as one of the largest and most successful Thai art center, the Subhashok the Arts Centre. Then we will happy to answer all of your questions. This is Education Talk, and we're calling it EdTalk. I'm Matus Punnayapornpong, co-founder of CIGAM Global Educational Consulting Agency and the EdTalk host. I founded CIGAM with a group of people that share the same mindset and vision of change through the best education fit for students. That includes strong moral, who I am highly proud of calling a lifetime friends and family. I would like to take you back on the elephant flight from London Heathrow to Moscow Sheremetyevo. At that time, I was questioning myself with many questions regarding education and limited resources, sufficient perseverance, time and money. I have seen so many people, especially in emerging countries, including my peers, who spend most of their money to support their kids or themselves to obtain the utmost education, usually in either the US or the UK, with high expectation where this degree would secure and guarantee their brightest futures. The majority of the people often choose to study what the social norm or cultural expectation from society had imprinted upon them to study, and the price of being a good listener was to give up their dreams, leading to a dilemma. I had asked myself that is it true to study MBA, engineering, or medicine to become a successful person in the future? Why should one choosing to study a specific subject like art or telecommunication be considered as less successful than the MBA candidate? Why do some people choose to go to the Tier 3 university rather than the Tier 1 or Tier 2, even though they have a sufficient time and money? Why it is so important to be a successful person? What does success really mean? And is there the one true standard to measure one's success? For myself, when I was in a primary and secondary schools, I had a dream of becoming an astronaut, which led me to study astronomy. Yet, I learned how much of perseverance and excellence in science that this job required, together with the fact that I personally am not a really big fan of physics. Consequently, I gave up my dreams and chose to follow the social norm to study business statistics at the Chulalongkorn University. During the time in Chula, where I realized after the first semester that my relationship between the statistics and me was unamiable, the life lessons I learned was to never give up my dreams that I solidly sought after with all my heart for what others wanted me to do based on their expectation. During my undergraduate studies, obtaining my bachelor degree, I have chosen to pay more attention to languages such as French, Spanish, and Japanese, thanks to the extracurricular and my passion for traveling. Therefore, I was studying full-time and working part-time and full-time in various industries, from market research, a luxury good retail, and to the legal and intellectual property consulting firm. These lessons come with a big price tag that I had less time to do in university activities. Nevertheless, I enhanced a worthwhile network and gained substantial experience beyond July. After my graduation, while working as a banker in Bangkok, I kept on dreaming about studying and working and living overseas. My answer was to study international business and management in Moscow. Consider it as a bold and eccentric choice. Why did I choose what I chose? A simple answer is I fell in love with Moscow, from the art to the climate. And I had been traveling back and forth between Bangkok and Moscow about 8 trips in just 2 years. I learned, unforgettably, how to stand up for what I believed and go out of the family bubble and my own comfort zone. During the time in Moscow, I made another crucial call to enroll for a double degree postgraduate programs at the University of St. Andrews, and also asked my that time boss to relocate and secure my job as a global business development manager within the same digital marketing agency in London, where I have completed and achieved them beautifully with successfully closing essential digital marketing deals in Europe, especially in the UK, while graduated with a distinction in a dissertation concentrating on an investigation into a role of the private sector at the bottom of the socio-economic pyramid. The lesson here is to optimize opportunity and master time management while enlightening the true joy of giving through social, entrepreneurial, and philanthropist activities. Now my purpose and my life goal is to put all my effort and experiences coupled with my study abroad to help the next generation to get the best suited education that is curtailed specifically for them, that is driven by our personal beliefs and high standards of morals. This student will be unique, globetrotting, trendsetters with knowledge of how to problem solve in the current world structure and global issue. Students with the knowledge gained here at the CIGAM Global will be able to create a better community and help develop a world where we are now. So this is my part, and this is me, Matus. I would like to pass this to my co-host, Khun Kompit, to talk about himself and his experience and how he achieved and overcome during the time that he's studying abroad.
Hi everyone, my name is Kompit, and thank you, Matas, for introducing me and inviting me to be a co-host of this talk. So I do a few businesses, and actually MIECA, or MAC International Education Consulting Agency, is one of them. What MIECA provides is we actually provide consultancy for students who wish to study abroad and further their education. This business actually started as a hobby. So I've been working in education for some time, and I've been living abroad in 8 countries previously. So when I came back to Thailand, naturally, a lot of family friends asked me, where should I send their kids to school? And of course, the obvious choices are usually the UK, US, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the English-speaking country. And this is mainly because most Thai parents want their kids to be able to speak English fluently. Now, what they usually don't realize is that there's actually a lot more benefits to studying abroad. And this is due to the fact that when you grow up in one culture, or when you grow up in a close community, it is likely that that community or that culture will restrain you from thinking a bit bigger than what you can. I was lucky myself that I grew up in a family where we foster creativity, and that I was allowed to explore my affinity to the arts and creativity. A lot of my friends, if they did good in school, the parents wanted them to become a doctor or a scientist, an engineer or an architect or lawyer. And I could have done all those things, but I chose to pursue my love for design. So with that kind of opportunity, I thought, and seeing that a lot of my friends were suffering because, they were also creative and artistic, but they had to be studying to become a bioengineer. I see the struggle, and I realized how lucky I am. Of course, there are many friends who wanted to become an engineer, and they're happy to do that. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the people who actually didn't want to study what they studied, but they did that because their parents' expectations. So I decided when I came back, and given all these questions that I was asked, I thought maybe I should start a consultancy. Like maybe I could find a way that I could match what the parents want to what the child needs and wants. And that's the start of MIECA, my consultancy. And what I realized as well is that actually the parents nowadays are more willing to listen. In the past, of course, there are a few jobs that parents thought were secure jobs. But nowadays, I think if you find the right approach to the parents and explain to them why any jobs can be secure, I think they will listen to it. Something I would ask them some of the things I would ask them would be, for example, 5 years ago, who would have thought a YouTuber could be a job, or a social media specialist could be a job? If you know what people like, if you know how to use Instagram or social media, TikTok quite well, you can actually start making challenges and do consulting work for big brands on how to reach to their markets. 5 years ago, nobody thought this would exist. So you start telling the parents that actually there are so many jobs out there right now that if only you allow your kids to explore those options, the possibilities is endless. Of course, the most important thing is to allow the kids to be able to think for themselves. But for this, what matters is to make them independent of that thinking. And not to say bad things about Thailand, but with my experience, when kids go study abroad, they have more tendency to be more independent in the way they think. And this is not because it's better than Thailand. It's the fact that they get out of their comfort zone. This is the reason why many parents send their kids to boarding school as well. Because when you leave your family, when you leave your house at such a young age, you learn to find a way to solve problems yourself. And with that comes many soft skills that you don't usually learn when you live with your family until you're 18 or 21, like you usually do in Thailand. So this is the foundation, the foundation reasons why I said that when the kids go study abroad, it's more than just learning English. It's them learning to be independent and learning to find out and figure things out for themselves. Okay, I think I might have gone a bit too long. But yes, that's basically just introducing what MIECA is, and also at the same time how I found my passion and I'll do business out of it too. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pete, for sharing your experience and what is MIECA for, and like how you found it. And I would like to ask Khun Jongsuwat to come in and share your experience. So basically, you are graduated and you spend most of your life in UK, right?
Yes, I did. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up the accent though, so bear with me. Thanks for having me though.
Yeah, can you tell us more about yourself?
Right, so my name is Jongsuwat. I am the managing director at Subhashok the Arts Centre. It's an art center in Sukhumvit 39. And well, we also do both galleries part and the education part. So I'm very happy to be here today, to be a part of the first EdTalk by you guys.
Yep. And why did you choose to study in the UK? Like, what would be like, why the UK, not the US or like somewhere in Europe? Because it seems like you love your love art, you're art lover.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? That is a question you probably should ask my parents why they chose to send me there. But I would say that it was a choice between, you know, like what Khun Kompit said, that it was, you know, choices between all the English-speaking countries. So within that, we had the US, Australia, Canada, the UK, and then we just happened to land on UK because actually both my brothers at the time were studying a summer program, and they got sent to spend a month or something in the UK, and they happened to enjoy their times there, so they got sent there, and then I just wanted to be with my brothers, really. So that's how I ended up in England in the first place. It wasn't really planned, especially not for the art, but I quickly adopted the love for art through the programs at my first school there, actually.
Yep. When did you start studying and living abroad? Like, what would be the timeline? Like, I know that you joined your brothers after their summer school.
Yes. So I went sort of in the autumn of 2000. So I would have been about 11. I think I just turned 11 a couple of months, and then I went to the UK, and it's a boarding school. So just like what Pikompit said, you know, you really got thrown into the deep end when you live abroad. Fortunately, because we live in a boarding school, you know, we had matrons and we had housemasters and we had people that were around us 24 hours. So in, you know, that way it sort of helped us to get acclimatized to the country and to the new culture as well.
So you went to Bedford School, right? Why is Bedford rather than like?
Actually, at the time, Bedford was actually one of the top 100 schools in the UK. Unfortunately, by the time I graduated, it didn't quite make the list. But at that time, it was considered a pretty good school, and my parents didn't want to send me anywhere that was too busy, in the sense that they don't want us to, you know, get too fun living away from them. So they chose somewhere close enough that they could go to see us from London, but at the same time is, you know, far enough to keep us tamed and not, you know, get astray.
Like after the Bedford, you went straight to the undergrad, or you went through like some foundation, or what would be?
So actually, what I really love about the program, I'm not sure if this is the case for all the art colleges, but definitely for the University of the Arts London, they encourage any student sort of joining the college to enroll in the foundation program first. And what they do there at the foundation program is basically to, you know, as the name suggests, lay out the foundation in thinking in the realms of art, but also they gave us the opportunity to explore different modes of art. So it's a 1-year program, and they split into 2D, 3D, and 4D. 2D being painting and trying to remember what else. I think that was just sort of visual art, I think is what they sort of considered 2D. And then within 3D, there were interior design, spatial design, design, for example, styles design. And then 4D, adding the dimension of time, and that includes film, television, animation within that sort of media. So within the 1 year, I got to explore what I love doing and what I'm good at doing. So when I joined the college, I actually wanted to enroll on a interior design course. And then through exploring different options, I realized that I'm better at storytelling and sort of building narrative through motions. So I had the choice between animation or film and television. And that's how I ended up getting into film and TV undergrad program at University of the Arts London.
And why did you choose like art and design? And first thing is like why art and design, and the second one would be why UAL? Like any specific reason toward that?
Arts and design, I mean, it's always been my passion. This sounds really cheesy, but I always did well in arts at school, even in Thailand. And then when I got to the UK, it was one of the classes that I thoroughly enjoyed. And actually, because of the way the UK education system works, it's GCSE rather than IB or whatever. So we had to choose our sort of major quite early on in the program. And actually, I didn't choose art. It just didn't occur to me that it was even an option. And then, when we move on to A levels, preparing for university, that's when I decided, you know what, if I want to get into art school, then I need to act now. So then I went to the course program director, spoke to him and asked if I could get transferred. And then, and so I did. And then, I really enjoyed it. I didn't actually do that well in terms of my art grades compared to my Spanish and my design. But I guess grades didn't really matter when it comes to art. It's only, subjective. And and then that's how I sort of really started looking at courses in art and design. And the reason why I picked UAL, I mean, to be honest, sort of shows based on my friends first and foremost. And the reason why, I mean, UAL, I think it has the advantage of having different campus, and you're able to transfer resources between there. They encourage cross-campus collaboration, cross-department, but also you can use facilities and resources from all the campus. That means, being at UAL allow me to travel across 6 campuses across London for resources. So I think that was also one of the merits of getting into UAL.
Yep. And later, like you choose like film and TV, right? Mm-hmm. So why you shift from like the passion that you have on like art and design, and then like jump to the film and TV for like it's totally different, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I really enjoy storytelling. I like building narratives. I find telling stories through motion, and there's an element of time that you can't find in other forms of art aside from performance. But in terms of all the other courses that were available, I really was sort of deciding between animation and film. And the reason why I picked film was because I thought, it's something that you can't really learn on your own. Even with animation, I guess at some point you can sort of, to a certain extent, learn the basics on your own. Whereas with film, you have to work as a team. There's ways, other components within filmmaking that requires other people in the project. So I thought, if there's going to be any time that I want to explore this path, it would be while I'm at the university.
What did you really expect from this degree?
Okay, so the full name of the course was actually film and television. So my idea of it was I wanted to focus more on television rather than film. But then first day into the course, the program director actually said, sorry guys, it's actually going to be film only now. We don't really do the television program anymore, really, which is a slight shock for me. But in the end, we got to learn a little bit about TV. But going in to the course, my expectation towards it was I wanted to learn all the technical details. I wanted to be the best at designing the light and the sets and learning all the scripts and all the camera works out there, all the cinematic design of the film. But in the end, the course wasn't actually about that. The course was actually more training you to try out different components in the first year, and then in the second year you sort of got to choose your specialty, and I sort of chose editing, which was sort of closest to what I'm good at, which is storytelling. And then towards the final project was making a film. But it wasn't actually quite what I expected, although I'm very satisfied with the experience all the same.
Okay, and what did your parents say when you told them that, hey, Papa and Mama, like I'm gonna go for like art and design, or like I'm gonna study film and TV? What would be their feedback back then? Like,
I think I was quite fortunate in that I think both parents really, they don't really know what I'm doing, but they still encourage me to just go for it anyways. They just said, yeah, like just do whatever you feel right, explore what you need to, as long as you know how you are going to survive those skills, and then go out there and go follow your dreams. So I did. And I think that sort of feeds nicely into my second part of studying, which was going to a business school after film school, because I realized very quickly that you're not gonna be very rich doing film unless you are, one in a million producers in Hollywood or somewhere. So I needed some sort of business thinking to be able to incorporate my passion and my love for the arts to really understand how I'm going to monetize my ideas and my skills and capabilities into something that is, more financially sustainable for my passion.
So after you graduate, like that undergrad degree one, so you jumped to the business school directly?
I did. I didn't get the chance to try interning anywhere, partly because in the UK they changed the law on the year that I graduated. It used to be that after you graduated, you are allowed 2 years visa to work in the UK, and then they changed it to just the 1 year. And then by the time I graduated, they took out that privilege. So and working in film sets, you don't really get hired full time. It's kind of like a by the hour sort of basis. So there was no way for me to get a visa sponsor if I wanted to be in the film. But then, so I was thinking at that time, what can I do, or what can I be with this, set of skills that I've been trained for the last 3 years? What can I do? And then I thought about going into advertising. Maybe my film skills and storytelling could sort of get me into being a creative or an artistic director at an agency or somewhere. So I enrolled on the marketing postgrad course immediately, and then my minor was in advertising.
And did you find some of like difficulty since like you didn't have like any work experience back then, and you joined like such a postgraduate level right away? And do you feel like you lack of like the experience or like some sort of like knowledge or skill to share in the class?
I think out of all the majors at business school, such as finance and sales and accounts, I think marketing is the most forgiving for in my mind, just because it requires a lot of creativity and not a lot of mathematics. So in that sense, I did all right in terms of getting through the school and getting my degree. But in retrospective, looking back at it, I would say that my colleagues in the classroom who had worked before, they had a better idea of why they were there and what was being taught and what they needed out of those modules. So in terms of class contribution, I was able to contribute just as much as the guy next to me. But in terms of knowing the purpose of why I did that and what it was for, I think I wish I had had some sort of work experience before going into my postgrad.
That's interesting. The next question would be, did the degree in LSBL really fulfill your need and pave the career to the path of the success? Like, because like you already mentioned that, oh, you need this kind of a business thinking to help you make money from your passion, which is like based on art.
Mm-hmm. I think it helped somewhat because it gave me some sort of understanding on basic marketing. But I think my friends who studied marketing in other colleges, I think they walked away with better idea of what they need to do or what they can do. I felt okay. I'm a little flustered now because I don't know how much I should talk about this specific program at this specific school, but I would say that I walked out of this college not feeling as equipped as my other friends doing other courses in other universities. Let's put it that way. So maybe I can't speak for everyone else in my course at the time, but I would say somewhat satisfied, somewhat. and I think I wanted to learn, I wanted to study more really after the course finished.
So that's kind of like, can I say like dissatisfied or like such a really dissatisfaction of this like LSBF? That's why like you choose to go back to school again.
I mean, I wouldn't say dissatisfied because, I enjoyed my time there. I think it brought me to meet so many great friends. And I was able to walk away with a business degree that if I were to go apply to any other offices, I think, it's equally as valid as my other friends who got away with a marketing degree from other universities. But I think maybe I could be more satisfied if I had an advisor or someone to guide me into choosing my postgrad. But it's got nothing to do with me going back for my second postgrad degree though.
Okay. And why did you choose like study art business? It's pretty niche.
Yes, so actually, I didn't even know that there was this course before, and so what happened was after I graduated, I came back and worked for my family business and was in properties and hotels. So it's got nothing to do with art really, but it's a personal passion, but also it's a passion for the whole family. And back in 2012, we opened an art center, which is where I'm working right now. And when I graduated, I joined the office there. And then I got at one point we got to meet with a gallery in France, and we had some sort of joint venture for about 2.5 years. And during those times, our aim really was to not only be the best in Thailand, but also to compete equally on the international stage. And to be able to do that, I really need to know how it's done, So then I was advised that there was this course at Sothebys Institute that they do also online courses, but for the degree course there was this one called the art business. And I looked at the course program, and it really encouraged the thinking of art as an alternative investment, but also understanding different components of the art market. And I found that really interesting and aligned with what I did. So then I thought, if I'm going to do this professionally, I need to have some sort of formal academic training doing this business before I can tell and advise other people to trust in what I offer for them. So that's why I went back to university.
Okay. The next question would be a little bit tough. Why Sotheby?
Oh,
this one rather
actually,
than something else or somewhere else?
It's not tough at all, because Sotheby's has been around for a really long time, and they are one of the biggest leaders in the art market, and their program has been around since the year 2000. So I trust in the program, but also I trust in all of my professors because they are still active, both in the academic front, but also in the actual art market front. And a lot of them, wrote so many fantastic books, and they do not just lectures, but they really practice what they preach. So it's an easy choice.
So what would be for you to describe what would be like a motivation behind doing all of this, so many degrees? Like what drives you in doing everything up until now?
I would say first and foremost, it would be personal curiosity. I wanted to study just because I was curious and I wanted to know. And to be a student, I think is such a blessing, because you can dedicate your full time to learning and really tickle your curious spot, because unlike working and studying on the side, studying full time allows you the dedication, but also you get access to so many things, especially in the UK. If you have a student card, you have so many privileges, and you can access it to so many museums and learn about so many things. So I think this would be personal curiosity, but also studying gave me network, and it's not the same kind of network that you have through work, but these are your peers, your colleagues, your friends, people that you struggle with, that you go through hardship with, and you come out the other end together. And you're not going to get the same kind of bond had you not been in the same course and go through the same pressure. So studying also gave me really good lifelong friends and a big network that helped me in the future. So
far that we're talking till now, we're talking about like more like of the success and why we choose this and that. I would like to ask you this: were there any challenges or any obstacle in any part of your journey?
Oh, of course. I went through a lot of doubt, self-doubt, but also I think, in general, I think you're always gonna have that voice in your head, questioning your choices and decisions and a lot of what ifs. That's always, in something that I had to tackle a lot throughout all my education choices, especially because they're not so conventional. But even with my friends who studied engineer or biology or business, I think they also go through the same thing and doubt the same thing. So it's just a common process as you grow, really. And I think I would say that would be the main sort of challenge that I had to overcome. Other than that, I think for myself, I think it would be the language, especially in my field. I thought being able to speak 3 languages was enough, but apparently not, because almost everybody at Sothebys Institute in my course spoke at least 4 languages. And in the world, you really need to be a connoisseur of everything. You need to know your French, you need to know your German, you need to know your Italian, on top of English, and being able to speak the art lingo, but also understand a bit of Latin, for example. It really requires a certain specific type of brain, really, to be there. And finding myself in a situation where on the one side, I'm not able to master all these European languages that half of my classmates could, and then on the other half, I can't speak Mandarin, which is one of the biggest market right now in the arts. So I found myself in the minority, and especially for the arts, art in Thailand it's contemporary art in Thailand is not a big market compared to China, Hong Kong, Japan, France, London, whatsoever. And what sort of finding yourself in the middle of all these big markets and big culture, sometimes it does bring a lot of challenges and doubt for me as well, whether I was the right fit, whether I could, whether I was equally as capable, and whether I would be able to perform as well as my colleagues in the class.
And with all of these challenges, how did you really overcome that? Because like you can't just do like this and then you learn how to master Italian or the Latin overnight. How could you cope with this?
Yeah, well, I mean, it has to, it takes time, and there will always somebody better than you, and that's one thing that once you grow older and have less vanity, smaller ego, you start to accept that you're not always going to be the best in your class, and that is okay. And realizing that really set me free and really allowed me to excel at being myself, and I could be the best version of myself. And maybe I cannot speak all those languages, but I'm still able to bring out the soft skill, the people skill that I have that maybe my other friends who could speak 5 languages do not possess, and finding that balance and that ground for you to stand on, and the position, your own unique selling point. I think it takes time, and it takes a lot of experience and lots of trial and errors to really find that spot. And to be honest, even towards the end of my course, I don't think I found it at that time, and it took me many more years in the business to really overcome those struggles that sort of was formed during my time studying.
And apart from that, what is easy to adapt to the environment, such as like accommodation, food, discrimination, and so on?
Yes, I would say that I was quite lucky in that I moved there quite young. So, you know, I didn't really question a lot at the time. So whatever was thrown at me, I kind of just had to absorb it. So I didn't have a lot of culture shock or anything. I was able to adapt pretty quickly. But I would say that the structure in class is very different to studying in Thailand. But prior to going to study abroad, I studied in an international school. And I would say, I had more, I needed more, what would be the word? I needed more like adapting and sort of, I had more culture shock moving from Thai school to international school than moving from international school in Thailand to England. So I think it's more of, in the classroom, how you interact with your friends, but also to your teachers. In Thailand, you're always going to have that sort of superior, senior versus, junior. You have to be polite. You also have to be softly spoken, can't air your ideas, you can't think differently. You have to conform, all of these things. I think it forged to who you are and the way you think very early on. And it took me a while to be able to get out of that shell. I think in my first year studying in the UK, I failed at every single subject, even though I used to, be one of the top in my class when I was in Thailand. But being in the UK in the first year, I think the highest grade I had was like 30% or something ridiculous, because it wasn't that I didn't understand English, but it was more because I didn't understand what was expected out of me and how I could participate in class. And once I really had that kick in the butt at the end of the year, I went back in my second year, and by the end of it, I was able to perform well, and I did well throughout my school after I sort of adapted. But yeah, I would say it took me a year to get out of that way of thinking from the Thai school to studying in the UK. Other than that, life in the UK, because I moved there quite young and early on, and I lived with another British family for the whole time that I was there for the first 7 years. I think it wasn't too hard for me to adapt. Moving into London was different though, because I lived alone, but also I had a lot of friends who grew up differently, who were more outgoing perhaps, and who were more or less independent, and maybe they wanted to go out drinking, partying. And because I came from a boarding school that was really strict, I wasn't able to have that experience prior coming to London, and adapting into that sort of adolescence, first year college freshman sort of lifestyle, and trying to fit in and all of that was also really difficult. Discrimination, I luckily I didn't have to experience too much. Being at art school, I think they embrace diversity anyways, and at Bedford School, because it's pretty diverse. I think in that sense, I was quite lucky.
That's great. If you had a chance, would you still choose the same path? And is there anything you want to change? If you can turn back time?
If I could turn back time, I would perhaps studied art history right from my first year at college. I think at that time, nobody really told me that studying art history can bring you to such a big wide world of art business. Like the only thing that I knew out of art class was to be an artist. They didn't really teach me what else I could do for the artists and the art world if I wasn't an artist. So I think I would probably choose a different direction. For my business degree, despite having said I wasn't 100% satisfied with my decision, I wouldn't have made any changes, because I think I was there at the right moment, at the right time, and it was what was needed for me at that specific moment. Maybe if I worked before I went to my postgrad, I might have chosen a different college or different course. But going from art school to a business school, I think that course and that college I was right where I needed to be.
And it's becoming successful in your kind of study course. Consider it like difficult?
Can you explain that question again?
Yeah, sure. Like since like the art, like you study art business and media, design and film. So let's focus on like art business that you study in Sothebys. It's becoming successful in your kind of study course in the Sothebys. Consider like difficult?
I think it wasn't difficult for me, but I think that's because I've had work experience, and going to class, I knew exactly why I was there. I wanted to be there. I needed to know all of these things, and I needed to pick my professor's brains out. So I think I enjoyed it 120%. So it wasn't too hard for me in the course, but I did see that my other classmates and colleagues who jumped straight from undergrad to postgrad, they struggled to understand the assignment or the reason why we had all these modules, and moving from art history or even practicing visual art to a business course. I think it was quite difficult change for a lot of people.
Yep. And are you satisfied with all your degrees now, or you still planning and thinking of probably like some more certificate or degrees?
I'm a nerd, so I always want to study more. I wanted to do PhD, but my company was waiting for me here, so I couldn't do that. But it's still something that I want to get back into. I also want to go study more languages. There's so many languages that I still want to learn, and there's still many more courses, short and long, and online and offline, that I still want to do. So I am satisfied with what I have right now, but I will never be satisfied to study more.
Yeah, and what kind of course or what kind of field are you planning, or you want to know more? Either PhD or short course, online, offline?
PhD, I'm interested in music studies, but although I want to have a business degree in, some sort of alternative investment somehow. But also I want to study more, like I said, languages. I want to be able to communicate on the, once you know another language, you understand their culture, you understand the way they think and why they say a certain thing or why they react a certain ways to the, to what you say. So I want to learn more languages, and I have to dedicate more time to studying languages from now on as well. And there I said it. Everybody here listening today is my my alibi. Now you guys can hold me accountable.
Okay. So can you talk and tell us more about what are you doing right now? What kind of work that you into, or what kind of art piece did you make? What kind of field?
Yes, so I'm glad you asked that, because actually S.A.C, that's Subhashok the Arts Centre, Sukhumvit 39, we will be 8 this year, and our family is growing. So we are going through the process of rebranding, and hopefully by autumn this year, we'll be able to roll out new services and new program. We'll have a more clear-cut education program, but also we have conservation program and services, and many more art activities that we'll be doing at S.A.C. And on top of that, we're also building a new project in Chiang Mai that you have to watch this space to know more about it.
And did you find your prior studies helpful in your current position or current job or current project?
Yes, I think especially in the film degree, studying film, it teaches you to learn to be organized, to work team, to learn to, take care of the network that you build, but also how to pitch yourself. They always train us to have the elevator pitch, and learning to be able to tell a story, understanding what touches people, but also making things concise and summarize and finding keywords, things like that really helped me a lot throughout my I always go back to what I've been taught at my film school, like move forward. You learn to be producer and manage finance, but also you learn about how you can direct people, but also understand their feelings and their mind, understand how to communicate certain messages to a certain group of people, different audience. I think all of it came out in my film school. So that really helps me even now, almost 10 years on. Gosh, more than 10 years on.
Can you give a piece of short advice on how to pursue your dreams? The dream that other people probably want to follow your path is probably helpful and useful for them.
I don't claim to be a wise sage. I still trying to figure out my life as well. But if I can give any advice, it would be this. Follow your passion, know why you're doing it, and don't be afraid to ask other people in your industry how they are making it work for themselves. I think those would be the three things that I want to, share to anybody doing any business, really. And I learn a lot through my peers and my competitors in my industry. On the one hand, we are all competing for the one cake, but at the same time, we are friends in the same industry. And I think it's, the same can be said for any other industry. And, the more you can do, say no, but you never know what you will learn out of speaking with your friends, your colleagues, your competitor, people in the industry, learning what works for them, what can be made differently, and what is still needed in the industry, whichever it is that you're doing. And once you combine that with passion and you find the solution for the industry, I think you can grab that idea and run with it.
Thank you, Ern. Pete, do you have any question for Ern?
Sure. Yeah. So I have the last question just because you've asked everything that needed to be asked. Thank you, because I think that's a great point that you can learn a lot from your competitors. I think that's something that can be improved in Thai business culture a lot. Many countries we're competing cross-national, across the border, but in Thailand, many businesses are still competing with each other. So I think if competitors can see themselves as, source of knowledge, that can be great. My last question comes to this as well. So Matas, you have covered a lot of questions about what had learned in your university and how he's used it now. But my question would be, what do you think you've learned outside of school, but during your time abroad or living abroad, that has shaped you into who you are today, and that has equipped you to deal with the challenges you have in creating a successful business?
Wow, yeah, thank you for that question. I think living in London, you get challenged every day in terms of how you're gonna manage your life, right? Because so many things happen in London all the time, and people move around all the time, and learning to be adaptable, but also learning to read the air around you. I think I really got that out of London. And I think living abroad, like you have said earlier during this talk, that you need self-sufficient, but also need to get out of your comfort zone, trying out different things and making decisions for yourself and standing by it, making your bed and sleeping in it. And I think that's something that, when I started studying, and even when I started working, I was scared to make decisions, not because I didn't know what to pick, but it was because I didn't want to be responsible if the decision was wrong. And I think living alone and living abroad and having to take care of yourself, it really teaches you to stand by your decision. And sometimes it's not always the wisest choice, but we made that decision and we grow from that, and it's okay to do that. So living abroad, really, I think that would be one of the first merits that I found very quickly when I started living alone in London.
Thank you.
I could probably spend more time talking about that, but I just see the time as well, so try to keep it concise.
Yeah, so basically, thank you very much. Now it's we're moving to the Q&A for like the participant to ask three of us, especially Ern. So please just maybe like comment or like ask question in the chat, or if you want, you can just like talk with us here and now.
Is there any questions from the participants? Anyone? I think just ask.
Yeah, like you can just like on the chat or just unmute. Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So thank you so much for sharing all your stories, and it's very like opening up my mind, like really like how you like pursue your dreams and your passion, and it's very motivated me. So I have a question, like if I like wanna go abroad like one day, like how should I like start? Like how should I prepare for it? Like cause like I always like dreaming like to go there one day, but to me like it's not like the right time at this point. So like what can I like prepare like now, or like how should I do it? Like because I don't have like a really much knowledge of how can I like start, you know what I mean? Like so like if you were gonna give advice, like what should I do like now? Thank you.
You want to answer this one?
Oh, is the question for me? I thought it was gonna be for you guys. I mean, I think CIGAM, you're probably the professional in this, but if it's anything that I can advise from, the little experience that I have, is I would say, just the course. Don't just pick the college based on the course that you want to study, but also look at the city that you'll be in. I think, what we have been discussing this whole session is also about learning outside of the classroom and really experience the culture, the people, the lifestyle, and really learning the small details that make up that city. And whether you go to study in Paris or in Vienna or in Salzburg or in London, you're gonna walk away with a very different experience. And before deciding just on the course, I would say try to think about the life there and what you can learn outside of the classroom. Do they have a lot of museums there? Do they have a lot of opera house, maybe some concert halls? Maybe if your favorite musician or pop star, do they tour there, for example? All of this make up the lifestyle that you deserve to have as a student. So that would be my advice.
I agree with that. From my side, like from the CIGAM side, I would recommend you to, what is the purpose of going abroad? Why you want to go abroad? Like for example, like if you say like you want to just you hit the ceiling already, and then you just want to break through, like break this wall, like in the ceiling, as a studying MBA, and then just go for like a management consulting or so on. Then you have to find out first, like what the purpose of going abroad is.
Yeah, and if I may add, so I think that's a great thing to start to know why you're going. And also, I think you need to prepare everything else as well, apart from why, is you have to prepare your financial plan and all that stuff, how you're going to finance it, how much money you will be spending. You do some research beforehand. Are your parents paying? You're getting a grant. So there are many options that you can take. And even some banks and some Thai universities offer some money for you now to go study abroad. So that's the things that you can study beforehand. And of course, you can visit CIGAM or MIECA, because we both give this kind of consultant, and we have different universities and courses on our portfolios. So you can start with that as well. But yes, apart from why, also do some financial plan. That's really important.
And again, like I think like to think about what kind of network you want as well. That is really crucial. Like for example, like if your dream is like going to study in Europe, you probably don't want to go and study in US or in China. That is also important as well. Like some course in the US come with like the visa or the degree, the visa that you can work like after that, like Master of Science or something like that. You can do. With the UK, like Boris Johnson just mentioned that are probably gonna open for like 2 to 4 years, but it's not that implemented yet. That would be my recommendation. Is it clear?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, please?
Okay. Well, I think that was a good session. Are there any more questions?
Yeah, just more questions. No more question. Okay. Are you sure no more questions? So I'm gonna keep this. Okay, so let me conclude from today EdTalk session. If you don't have like a direct way to complete your dreams, you always have some choices. So consider possibility and choose one. Then do everything that with your best all of it, gain experience, and always be open for kind of opportunities. This might be a way to get yourself ready to archive the bigger goals they're gonna come in your life. So don't allow what you cannot do to interfere with what you can do. So you can reach your dreams even further doing things that you're good at. So if you have like any question or you question about like studying abroad or live abroad or work abroad, like CIGAM and MIECA are ready for offer the service and help you. So thank you very much for today.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matus. Bye.
Thank
Great
you.
session.
สวัสดีครับ
Bye.
สวัสดีครับ
Thank you.